So in this video, I'm going to show you three quotes that summarize or help encapsulate why Ukraine is where it is and what's going to happen as they move to the future. If you don't know who I am, my name is Gerdes. I'm just a professor trying to help you understand the war in Ukraine. The first statement is from Peter Pavel. He is the president of the Czech Republic and a former high-ranking person in NATO. Here's what he had to say in an interview about what's going to happen and when.
It will be unrealistic to expect that Ukraine, with all our assistance, will be able to liberate all the occupied territories in a short time. We should.
Okay, it's not happening anytime soon. Maybe it'll happen over time, but even more importantly, we have to focus on this one thing.
Strive for full sovereignty, for full control of internationally recognized borders, but it will most probably take time.
When you say it will most likely take time, how long should Ukraine expect to have Russia occupy some 20% of its country?
I believe first we have to stop the war. And at this moment, Russia has no interest in stopping fighting because they...
That's right. They have no interest in stopping fighting. They think they're winning. They think they're going to take even more ground. They keep saying this kind of thing. And at the first opportunity to do that, they would take more ground. So they've been checked, but if something else happens, they might recalculate.
They believe they can succeed on battlefield. And once they realize that there is no chance of getting more ground, they will be only losing manpower and equipment. Then the time comes for negotiation.
So Russia's not going to stop until they realize that they can't actually win. When they get that, then they have incentive to stop, but not before that. So that's Peter Pavel, friend of Ukraine, who has been trying to drum up 1 million artillery shells for Ukraine. He's the guy behind that. So that's quote number one. So here's the second one. This is Kaja Kallas, the Estonian Prime Minister. Listen to what she has to say.
War in Ukraine and our response to it actually determines also whether NATO is credible or not, whether it is also acting as deterrence for Russia. Why we don't have a war in NATO's countries is because Russia is not taking up that fight.
That's right. The only reason that there was a war in Ukraine as opposed to, say, Poland, is because Ukraine is not NATO.
Ukraine is having this war is because they are in the gray zone. They are not under NATO's umbrella. And therefore, my conviction is that Ukraine will have to become a member of NATO when we want to have, get rid of conflicts and the areas of gray zones, because gray zones are sources for the potential conflicts. And I don't think it's good for the peace. So if Russia decides to move on and really uses power to attack, then it's going to attack NATO and not single countries. And this is actually one of the narratives that Russia wants us to buy.
And that's not going to happen. Russia knows better because a bully picks on the kid that it thinks it can beat, not the football player, because he knows that's a bad idea. Here's the last quote, and this is important. This is from @United24 Media. Russian ship captain confesses to war crimes. So he says this, in terms of guidance accuracy, there's literally inches. He's talking about sending missiles into Ukraine. If there's a 5-story building, then we aim at the entrance. Huh? 5-story building, like a civilian populated building? If not in this one, then in the neighboring one we'll definitely hit. Well, this is the kind of attitude that is okay with war crimes against civilian targets, and it doesn't really matter if you hit it or not, or if you hit the one next door, and that's why you have to stop them, because they're going to keep doing this kind of thing until they're checked. So to my mind, these three quotes summarize everything that's going on. First, Russia has to understand that it can't win. 2, Ukraine has to become NATO. And 3, you got to stop people like this from thinking that it's okay to do what they're doing to Ukrainians. What would you add to what you heard here? Thanks for your time. Thanks for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.